Hi there, it's Susan Horvath again. I guess this is chapter 3. This is where I'm going to show you how the murderers, they're called actually healthcare serial killers, my mistake. This book is from a former superior judge, Eileen Gillies, in the long-term care inquiry, which was nothing more than information gathering. In this book, so you know I didn't make this up, we have historically the ways that healthcare providers kill their patients. Let's start with the first graph. This is a graph that was made in the book. 2 years of a provincial long-term care inquiry right here. Just results they found. Apparently, in hospitals, 70% of the deaths which are associated with potential health care service serial killers took place in hospitals. About 20 to 30% are long-term care and nursing homes. ICU is where, and medical surgeries in ICU is where the largest deaths occur. The different settings where the nurse can kill. Again, there's your graph. I'm not making it up at all. Number 1, the blue here is hospitals. That's a huge amount, huge percentage. Then the red one here is long-term care, and you can read the rest yourself. It's not a pretty sight. No, it's not. So, hospitals, long-term care, home care, outpatient clinic, women's clinic, dialysis clinic. That's where they killed my friend Jerry. But anyway, I tried to stop that too, but that's another story. He's dead now, though, of course. Of course. And unknown. Okay. This is the materials and drugs and how they kill. There's your graph right there. The very first one is insulin. They kill with insulin. Next, that's the biggest killer. Next is opiates. Next is KCI. Next is heparin, which is a blood thinner for those that don't know. Next is a cocktail of many drugs all mixed together, which in chapter 2 you heard how another independent nursing home and how my father was put on a certain drug to create aggression, to create violence. Okay? Yes, let's not blame it on the seniors all the time. Let's open our eyes and be really big boys and girls and take a good look at who these people are that are being prosecuted as healthcare serial killers. It sure as hell isn't the seniors. Next, unknown injectable medications, letting you know. Now, there was here very interesting, not interesting, I don't mean it that way, nothing is interesting, but right here, yes. If you take a look, these are the methods of how they kill, right here, methods of how they kill. Okay, injected medications, that's one way to kill off a patient, right? Injection with air, okay, they inject an air bubble and it goes to your heart and good night Charlie, or else in the brain, wherever they inject air. You won't know any of this. You're going to be all zonked out anyway. They inject bleach. Bleach. Okay, that's creative. Suffocation. Oh, that's easy. Totally easy. Suffocation, of course. Oral medicines. These are the drugs that they prescribe. Like what's happening with my mother today, for example. Doctors gave her certain drugs that she's not supposed to have. I talked with them already and told them the reactions that she would have. They didn't give a shit. No. Matter of fact, they called her and she went back in on her own. I'm supposed to be there to help her, okay? I've kept her basically on extended life for the last 2 years to help her out. She has heart failure. Now, we have her on, not me, but the legal drug dealers have her on deliberately, because this is a senior protocol. There are protocols in this entire healthcare system. Oh yeah, this is population control. I don't care what anybody says. I've seen it firsthand. I'm seeing it now, and I had a friend of mine that I tried to save, but they got to him. So, yeah. Anyway, so she is on a blood pressure pill, 3 other beta blockers. Now she's got heart failure. And they have her on now a statin drug. She had no high cholesterol. But the doctor talked her into it because I have him recorded saying that I would statin you if you were my mother. Statin drugs, just to let you know, cause heart attack, stroke, dementia. It's a side effect. And cholesterol is extraordinarily important for your brain to function properly. Hence the reason they create dementia. Think about that. Anyway, suffocation, we did that. Oral medications, of course, they can mix that. Water in the lungs, piece of cake, that's easy to do. And then when you go up to your parent and you see that they can't breathe, then the nurse will say, well, they're really sick and, they're seniors. It's their time. Yeah. And meanwhile, this is like theater. Other methods. They didn't list other methods. And unknown. So there's other ways. There's a way that I also heard through the inquiry where they prick the toes when you're sleeping. And you could be bled internally to death in no time by morning. Yeah, it's simple. And then they go back on their cell phone and talk, So anyway, these are the methods used by 90 convicted health care serial killers. Okay, letting you know that. This was very interesting because typically the kills, murders, oddly enough, you will recognize what I'm going to say, are done typically on the evening or night shift. Okay, there are fewer healthcare providers present at the time. There are fewer family members that are also present. Okay, and a single RN typically in charge on the evening and night shifts. This observation is even more true of long-term care homes. So, anyway, I've went through this entire book, all the different features of a serial killer. There's several. It's very hard for me to keep going through this, but I'm doing this for a reason. Through the injection and medication, this method includes the use of intravenous lines, IV and PICC lines, yes. Catheters, yes, which also allow a healthcare serial killer to inject a medication into the line's port, leaving no needle mark. Oh, so there's another way too. They're so creative, aren't they? They are really creative, yes. Anyway, this is the book. this is what we received from the long-term care inquiry. Anyway, getting back to these videos, they're very hard for me to do. I lost my father. He was murdered by a healthcare serial killer. Now, the joke is the inquiry. When we did the inquiry, we suffered for, about dragged through court processes and everything. The people who should be in jail and jailed are the people that went on the stand, that were guilty, that were negligent, that were not supervising the health care serial killer nurse. She had several warnings. There are documents I still have that I will show you as I go along. She was warned several times. Nothing was taken serious. The person who hired her into the London long-term care home, which was Meadow Park, where my father was murdered, that particular person, Heather Nicholas, at the time was an administrator and recruiter, gave her a chance. I read a lot about what happened. So there's very lax supervision. They're also saying in this book that I read that seniors are expected to die in the nursing homes. What a cop-out that is, eh? Can you imagine? I met the coroner as well, which I'll get into. I don't want to hop around in this video. And they should be autopsying every single solitary senior that dies in a nursing home. Oh, yeah. But the coroner, who's also in on the action, said that, well, our budget, it's $400 to have an autopsy. $400. So my father's life was valued at $400, of which I would have been glad to pay. I suspected anyway something happened to him when he was killed, and I seen him on the gurney, and I said to the nurse, somebody did this to him. And her response was, you're not a doctor. And I was right. 2 years later, your dad was murdered by a healthcare provider. Really? I'm not surprised. I'm totally numb and getting desensitized by the day. Because now I have more excitement in my life. Now my mother, they're drugging. Okay? She still lives in her home, but they're drugging her. And she's believing them, because seniors are very naive and gullible. Back in the day when they were young, doctors would come out to their homes. Doctors would be...
It's 7 o'clock.
Doctors would be honest. Doctors would not be really working for the drug company and pounding in commissions and sales. They would basically give medication only when really needed. I know, I grew up in that time. So the seniors of today are getting trapped, misled, lied to, and sold. And when they're sold, that's it. They're very committed to that drug, and they will take it till it kills them. And that's exactly what it does. And today it was a shocker to notice that my mother was given having heart failure. She already has a very low pulse, 53. And the doctor that is, I call them legal drug dealers, gave her 3 beta blockers per day, plus her blood pressure pill and a statin drug. She had statin drug before and went into dementia, and I got her out of it with writing a letter to the doctor through a lawyer. I had to pay money to have that done, and the doctor didn't want to lose his license, so I guess he got her off the statin drug and she became better. Anyway, now I have more to wait for. I can now wait for her to go into the hospital, and because of the COVID campaign, we have the BS line in the hospital where you can't have any visitors due to COVID. Well, let me tell you something real fast. My friend's husband went in there, and he was 80, and I kicked up a fuss for her, and I called the police. Yes, the police said, by all means, you are allowed to go into the hospital. There is no law stopping you. But this is what the hospitals are doing. You know why? Because they don't want any witnesses. Same with the long-term care homes when they say, no, you cannot have visitors, lockdown, whatever. That's there for them to perform. Oh, yes, there's many healthcare serial killers. Why would they want their family around as witnesses? Think about it. Isn't it much more convenient to say that there's a very dangerous virus and you can't come in? Okay? This is a really slippery slope. This is Russian roulette. Watch over your parents. Don't do this. Where the hospitals say certain things, challenge them. That is your family member. And you know what? It's not their family member. And you know what? They don't care. Your family, your parent, your loved one is nothing more than a number and a file. Okay? They have a SIN number. That's who they are. And that's what they are. And they're given drugs and they're experimented on. Drug therapy, and with my father they had a I think drug evaluation and all kinds of tests. They're like reporting it. They're subjects. Okay, your loved ones in hospitals are subjects. Stay close to them. I couldn't save my dad. I'm not going to be able to save my mother either. The pharmaceutical industry has their fingers in your body if you accept it. Take a look at what's happening now. Take a look. We have so much money that is being generated on these COVID shots, and another one and another. The cash is flowing, and people are dying and getting sick. You don't hear that, do you? I know they are, because my other friend's husband went in with nothing more than I think it was just a sore foot or a leg or something. They ended up keeping him because she's a foreigner. She couldn't speak English well. And within about 3 weeks, they finished him off. Of course, it was due to COVID, which it really wasn't due to COVID. He had a bad back or something regarding his heart or something like it, and leg. It was really something he had suffered with for quite some time before the COVID campaign even launched. Anyway, yeah, he's gone. She got him back in a box of ashes. Anyway, I'm going to show more things in the next chapter. This is the Wettlaufer case. This is where my father and many seniors were murdered in a Ontario long-term care facilities. 2 of them. One was Crescent Care in Woodstock, Ontario, and one is Meadow Park in London, Ontario. And there's nothing more to say. We'll talk soon again. Take care and be prepared for what you're going to be going through with your loved ones. I'm just giving information for you to know these things because it's real. It's very real. Talk soon.